we got down, how many teams were here? 22. How many are left, fellas? And at midnight tonight, it's going to be 4.
Denver playing with such confidence right now. Jokic, he's got himself a triple-double here in Game 7.
I am absolutely shocked. Give this Denver Nuggets team a lot of credit. Him taking the fight away from the Clippers.
They are the comeback kids from Colorado.
That hurts. It hurts, but we move on.
You know, you watch Paul George right there saying what he said. Nobody wants to hear that when you blow a 7-game series against the Denver Nuggets. Give the Denver Nuggets its props. They deserve all the credit in the world for the way that they perform. There's some young Lions. They are part of the big future for the NBA. But the Clippers, no one can really measure the level of disappointment that they have exhibited. The bottom line is this. Paul George came up short. Kawhi Leonard came up short. Lou Williams came up short. And as a result, there are so many question marks. We don't know whether Doc Rivers is going to be back or not, although we anticipate he will. In terms of the players themselves, Montrezl Harrell, we don't know whether he's going to be back. We don't know what kind of moves the Clippers need to make or will elect to make in the offseason in light of this colossal disappointment, considering the draft picks that they gave up, who they depended on. Kawhi Leonard, you're the face of the franchise, reigning NBA Finals MVP, 2-time champion. You come in, and not only do you tell the Clippers, I'm not coming without Paul George, and you get the Clippers to trade a boatload of picks to Oklahoma City just to acquire him, but then you turn around, load management, practicing when you want, you know, electing to play when you want to, not play when you want to. It's just an entire big mess right now, something we did not anticipate would happen, Mike Wilbon, but nevertheless, it did. When you saw what you saw in terms of the Clippers' collapse against the Denver Nuggets in Game 7, what went through your mind about Kawhi? What went through your mind about Paul George?
I didn't understand it at all. And so yesterday, Stephen A., I think we both got in our Wayback Machines and had to go to our reporter hats that we wore many years ago, because I wanted to just ask players, current players, recently retired players, executives, club executives, what are you seeing here? And the interesting thing I found out, and I think you did too, separate conversations, same result.
Yep.
People disliked the Clippers.
Outside of Kawhi and Doc Rivers.
Outside of Kawhi and Doc Rivers. And they found that the spirit was so different. Patrick Beverley, Montrezl Harrell, Marcus Morris, they thought there was far too much talking, far too much bravado, far too much arrogance for a small group that hadn't really accomplished anything. And I thought about this. If you look back at what Kawhi had surrounding him in Toronto, you look back at the personalities and how different they are. Fred VanVleet, Norman Powell, Pascal Siakam, different demeanor. And it's not to say that one is right and one is wrong, but I don't know that Kawhi Leonard operated best in this environment that he was in now, particularly when you compare it to what he had last year in Toronto, how those guys interact. Now we hear some disagreements that might have been had between, what was it, Harrell and George? I mean, it seems like, Stephen A., these were not necessarily on-court things that derailed the Clippers as much as other matters, chemistry, spirit, demeanor, those kinds of issues.
But when we mention chemistry, spirit, demeanor, how much culpability falls on the shoulders of Doc Rivers and his coaching staff in light of those three elements that clearly were missing?
Well, you look, and particularly in basketball, because it's such a small room, you look at a veteran coach like Doc. We heard all season. I believe this. I've known Doc Rivers most of my life growing up in Chicago and being aware of him and knowing him. I root for him.
So do I.
And we know how good he is. And we all gave him an advantage, the Clippers an advantage, in large part because of Doc. And I still believe in that. He said in the immediate aftermath of that loss, put this on me. I don't know that I want to put it on him, even though that's what a great coach is supposed to do that. But Stephen A., they're going to have to make those personnel changes. All right?
That's where I'm going next, Mike Wilbon. Do you keep this team together?
No.
You do not keep them together.
I don't keep all those other parts. You mentioned Montrezl Harrell's a free agent.
That's
and by
right.
the way, will be a valuable one.
That's right.
All right, to somebody. But are they going to pay big money to all these guys? Are you going to have Marcus Morris? I think Patrick Beverley's got 2 more years on a deal. I'm swapping those guys out. I need a different demeanor, a different spirit around Kawhi and Paul George.
But I do need the big three together. Lou Williams, 2-time six-man of the year. He only averaged 10 points and was shooting like 15% from three-point range. I got to keep him. I got to keep Paul George and Kawhi.
Do you think about changing Paul George? By the way, there's an elephant not in the room we haven't mentioned yet. I got any number of texts in my text chain watching that Game 7. And every single person said, you know who they need? They need Chris Paul.
Without question.
They need Chris Paul. Now, I don't know whether Chris necessarily wants to go back there. And so we're not talking about yet where Chris wants. And they'll find that out because he's earned the right to play where he wants.
As long as they're going to pay him and let him stay in Los Angeles, he ain't going to mind. He's not going to mind.
I wouldn't think so. But if we're talking about any basketball factor, who do they have that's a reliable, dependable, not just dependable, who do they have with the ball in his hands? Mm-hmm. Do I want Kawhi having to have the ball 80% of the time? No, I don't. That was not asked of him in Toronto. It probably shouldn't be asked of him in Los Angeles. So, Chris Paul, can you fit him? Can you get rid of enough pieces to go and say we want to get Chris Paul back here?
They need a floor general without question.
They need a general. He's a general.
They need a general without question, but so does Milwaukee. That's a different subject for another day. Stick around. Mike Wilbon. Love you, bro.
The Heat win game 1.
That's why he's the heart and soul of our team, right there.
I seen a lot, did a lot, I ain't forgot. Watch what I do next. Watch how I do it.
After a thriller in Game 1, Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat looking to put the Celtics in a 2-0 hole in Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals tonight on ESPN. Moments ago, Boston Celtics coach Brad Stevens announced guard Gordon Hayward has officially been ruled out for Game 2 of these conference finals. Hayward injured his ankle in Game 1 of Boston's first-round series with Philadelphia.
Oh, yeah. That's good, D. Stop playing with me, man. Yeah. What's up, boy? Good. I'm good, boy. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Stay healthy, bro. Have a good one, bro. Stay. Hold it. I got you. I'm low. Hey! Ah! Good hands, boy.
Next shot is going in, bro. Trust me. You good.
Yes, sir. Okay, get him off. Okay. Yes, sir! Come on! Game time. Wow.
Kemba Walker started off this postseason shooting nearly 50% while averaging 23 points as Boston went 6-1 in its first 7 games. In Boston's last 5, however, Kemba is averaging under 15 points while shooting under 15% from three-point range. That is not good, and it is appropriate to bring in our next guest, Coach Jeff Van Gundy, who'll be on a call for Game 2 between the Heat and Celtics tonight on ESPN. Talk to me about Kemba Walker. Why is he struggling so much in your estimation, Coach? Is it simply his shooting from three-point range, or what else are we missing?
Well, I think Toronto did some different things to him, box in 1, triangle in 2, to try to limit him, which opened things up for other players. And then I think his size is a factor. But, Stephen, I'll say this to you. I got to work with him in the World Cup this past summer. There is no one who has a better spirit about him than Kemba Walker. He will not beat himself by either losing confidence or getting so preoccupied with his own dilemma that he hurts the team. This guy will bounce back. It is hard to play well the further you go because it's usually against better and better teams. But I have absolutely zero doubt he'll bounce back and play well.
I don't blame you for that doubt, although some may not share your optimism. But I'll ask you this question. If he doesn't bounce back soon enough, does Boston still have a shot to win this series without him playing well?
Well, it's a difference between playing well and shooting well. And I would say it depends on the degree. Obviously, they can, as they showed against Toronto, they can win enough to advance if he doesn't shoot well. I don't think they could win and beat this very good Miami team if he doesn't play well. And I think the more defense he occupies, they're blitzing some, they're switching some. Other guys like Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown are getting more and more opportunities. So he has to play well, but he doesn't necessarily have to shoot well each and every night.
You've mentioned Marcus Smart. He's been my MVP for the Boston Celtics throughout this postseason. The way that he has shot the ball, we know what he does from an energy perspective, certainly on the defensive side of the ball. I don't know if anybody anticipated he would shoot as effectively long range as he has been shooting. How surprised are you by that? And do you think that could be enough to offset whatever shooting woes Kemba Walker has?
Well, I think he's very confident. Brad Stevens always refers to him as a home run hitter. He's not willing, he's not afraid to get up there and take his swings. Sometimes he'll take a questionable shot or two, but you can't have guys at this level of play who are afraid of the moment. He certainly isn't in all aspects. I think the attention that Kemba Walker was given both by Toronto and now by Miami will open up things for Smart. I think Miami is still going to be content with Marcus Smart having shots based on percentages, but Marcus Smart is unafraid of the moment.
We saw him hit 6 threes, Coach. We saw Jason Tatum drop 30 and 14. We saw Bam Adebayo with that huge block against Jason Tatum. And we also saw Jimmy Butler pretty much help close the deal in Game 1. But Goran Dragic has not been mentioned, and he actually had 29 points. How pivotal is he for the Miami Heat in this series?
Well, when everybody talks about Miami, they talk first about Butler, then about Adebayo, and then they get to the young players. And Dragic is often overlooked. He had 29 in the Game 1, their leading scorer. He is really hard to guard in both pick and roll and in transition. He's crafty, he's quicker and stronger than people think, and he has been getting it done since being reinserted into the starting lineup due to Nunn's sickness. So, a big move by Eric Spoelstra to get him in the starting lineup, play him more minutes. Dragic has absolutely delivered.
Continue to do the great work that you and everybody else with your team has been doing in that bubble, Coach. Thanks so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
You got it, Stephen. Take care.
All right.
All right, we got to play free. We got to play hard. We got to play smart. We got to play together.
Well, we got down. How many teams were here? 22. How many are left, fellas? And at midnight tonight, it's going to be 4.
Denver playing with such confidence right now. Jokic, he's got himself a triple-double here in Game